Okay, we're replacing the rubber roller, the upper one, in the back of the case 8350, which is the same as a Hesston 1150. So we took the big shield off the side, took some brackets out of here, took the tunnel off, and then we're at the back rubber roller. So we're just taking the tension off, and they use this cable system, and it hooks to there. And then you can just pull this cover, and there's a big tensioning spring in here. And then you can see this piece of threaded rod, and then we've backed it off 4 inches or so approximately right there. And that loosens these cables that do up to there, and that provides the down tension on the rollers. So now just come over here to the drive side, and that one is right there. Same thing, we're just taking it off, and then these are your universal joints for the shafts to drive the rollers, and that handles the tension. And then of course you got to back the tensioning bolts off, and then there's the tunnel. It's pretty straightforward, it just comes apart with 20 bolts or something. Okay, and then it's just a split in here. You take this bolt out, drive a chisel in here, split this, pull this sideways. Then there's a flange for a bearing with a concentric locking collar. And then same thing on this side. There's a bearing flange with a concentric locking collar. And the idea will be to take the rest of this plate off here. Okay, and then the upper rubber roller bearing flange is off. Now we got to take this pivot plate off. And that's all stripped. And on this side, we got the U-joint separated and the flange part. And then I'm hoping not to have to take too much more off on this side. The idea is that take the plate off on that side and then pull everything, and the roller will go 6 inches that way, allowing for that shaft to come out, and then the roller will basically fall at the back of the machine, and then the opposite will occur. The new roller will go far over and then in, and then we'll put the pivot plate back up. There's the improvised bearing puller, bearing separator with a angle bar and 3/8 rod and 1/2 inch bolt. Push this off that shaft. Okay, so top roller's out. The secret is just to cut the shafts. So we just cut the shaft. We pulled the one bearing off. It still doesn't come out very well. So we ended up just cutting the shaft. So you got all this driveline stuff in here. It's got to be dismantled. So anyways, we'll hook up the new one, which is back here. Okay, new rubber roller is in there. So we ended up taking this plate off, so we just got it back on, and put the bolts back in to hold it. Had to do some welding. The sheet metal's all cracked down there. Put this pivot arm back on for the roll tensioner. Just put the bearing on. The collar's sitting here loose right now, so got to put the collar on. We're just getting the adjustment bolt put in here, and we'll get that done up just loose, and then we'll work on this bottom bearing on the steel roller that we had to cut off to get this plate off. Okay, there's the lower bearing, so I had to emery the shaft, get the bearing back on. So It's got a nasty nick right here. The guy had owned this prior to me. He had already changed his bearing once before. You can tell by the heat mark on the side shield's kind of a witness mark. And then that bearing right there is on and the collar's tight. So then after this we got to put the tensioning system back in here. So there's a cable that hooks to here and the exact opposite on the other side. And then the bar that goes along the bottom here has the big spring in it. So there's the rubber roller and the steel roller. Obviously there's a nick here. I'm pretty sure this bearing blew apart before I owned it and the guy had changed it. So anyways, that's the progress there. Okay, so there's the cable tension back on the pivot arm, and it runs through these cable guys, clamps onto the end of the big threaded rod for the big spring that sits in here. There, hopefully you can see that. And that's your tension spring for the upper rubber roll. Okay, there's the defector plate on the back. And the adjustments right here. So you can pivot this plate. It makes the windrow fluffier because it deflects the hay straight down when it comes out of the crimper rolls. Or it flips up and allows you just to shoot it out the back, and you can shoot it out the back like 15 feet if you really want to. Okay, so the side wall of the tunnel is just bolts on by 3 1/2-inch bolts right there. This is all done over here except the stub shaft with the U-joint that drives the top roll. So I think I gotta loosen the right angle drive off, slip that shaft on, so these just bolt up both sides, and then the tunnel cover laying on the ground goes on, and then the deflector shields. Okay, tunnel cover's back on. 4 bolts, bolt up, bolt the support arm back in place. Mimic on the other side. Then that deflector shield just tucks up inside. You got a handle here and a handle here to lever it. So there we are, lever there, lever there. Okay, there it is, complete. Both the verter shields are back in. Rollers are back in. Girls are down here hiding under the sun. So if you take these diverter shields off first, you can get to those nuts a lot better that are tucked up inside there. I think taking the tunnel off definitely helped. It freed up a lot of room. You don't have to, allegedly. You can just pop this first deflector off and then take the roll out the side like we did by taking the bracket off and then dropping it to the floor. But you have to support the tunnel here somehow. I suppose you could just wrap a chain or a strap around the main beam back here. I think for the extra hour it added for the tunnel was well worth it taking it off. Maybe if you've done this 400 times, you don't need to, but I have not. So, and then I just got this yoke to do right there on that stub shaft, but I gotta take this chains off here on the power transmission and pull this right angle drive and loosen the belts and everything. So I probably won't video that because that'll be tedious and pretty boring, but there we are. So rubber roll replaced.